It's Tokyo Game Show time, day one. Hi everyone, Matt here, and well, it's finally here. Tokyo Game Show 2020, the old digital Tokyo Game Show due to the unfortunate virus. It started last night in Japan, early morning here in the West, where you are most likely if you're watching this. And it was a very interesting beginning of the show. And there was only a little bit of program last night, most of the stuff starting today, but there was some news to talk about, and we're going to quickly go through the big news last night. Obviously, last night was only two companies really talking. That was Microsoft and Square-Enix. And both companies had some good points and some bad points. And one company had more bad points than good points. I'll just say that for the most part. And let's go. We're just going to go right into it. We're going to do a very quick overview of what was announced last night, what was talked about, what happened, and my own impressions. And I'm going to start with Square Enix because really, my opinion was Square Enix didn't really have anything bad to say, except one thing I felt was a little disappointing, which I'll get to. They started tonight with a pre-TGS stream dealing with the Densha de Go arcade to PS4 port, which is a fantastic game. Densha de Go is actually a long-running series. It's a train simulator series that started in the late 90s. And it's been dormant for quite a while, though a couple of years ago they released an old PS2 version as a plug-and-play game with the original Densha de Go controller, which was really cool. I actually have it in the back of my over here, which I might show sometime. And obviously, there's been some excitement bringing the series back. And a couple of years ago, they did. They brought it back as an arcade game with incredible 3D graphics that made Tokyo come alive as you were able to drive the Yamanote-sen, which is one of the main train routes in Japan. It's a train route that goes all around Tokyo in a circle, and it's a very, very famous track. Everyone knows about it. Well, they showed the PS4 port last night. They showed the first gameplay of it, and it looks great. It looks absolutely like the arcade version. I was wondering if they were going to be able to get the same quality graphics. It looks like they have. I'm not sure if there's much difference from the arcade one. I expect there is, but it looks pretty darn good. The detail, the attention detail is fantastic, and it looks a lot of fun. Also, there is a PlayStation VR component we found out about a few months ago, or a few weeks ago when they announced it, and they finally showed it off, and you're going to be able to get in the role of the train conductor, and you're going to be able to stand in front of the control pad and watch the driving through Tokyo in 3D in VR, and that looked pretty cool. It sounded really awesome from what they showed, and that got me very excited. That comes out this December for the PlayStation 4. It will be also coming out on the Switch, but no one knows when it's coming out. They actually said they don't have it ready yet, and they even said that there's no release date yet for that, but hopefully we'll see that sometime soon. I expect that one to be much lesser quality, of course, but still will be fun because it'll be a portable title. Later on the night, they also had a big Nier event for the Nier series, and they announced that Nier Replicant, the new version Nier Replicant, the anniversary, 10th, 11th anniversary, whatever you want to call it, has a release date, April 22nd or April 23rd, depending on where you live in the world. And it is coming out, of course, on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and on Steam. And they showed off gameplay last night. Looked really great. They talked about the inclusion of more dialogue in the game. They also showcased the special edition, the White Snow Special Edition, which includes the entire script of the game for the voice acting and includes some pins and other little extra features. This is a nice little compliment to the Black Box edition that Nier Automata got. And it looks fantastic. I'm glad we're getting a release date. Comes out in April. That's good timing, especially with the fall all packed with other things to get. And then they announced that Nier Reincarnation, the cell phone smartphone game, pre-registration started last night in Japan. According to my Apple Store listing, where I was pre-registering for it, it's supposed to come out in December. At least that's when they expect it, but they didn't really give a date last night. And it's also going to be coming to the West, they announced. They said North American, Europe versions are being worked on. In fact, the Japanese page also said it was available in English, so it's going to be multi-language, obviously, around the world. And the only disappointing thing that I felt last night was they had Nier Automata news, they said. And I was wondering, are they going to have really, really big news? Well, they it's kind of big news, but they only talked about that they've released or shipped or sold like 4,850,000 copies. They didn't get quite to 5 million yet, which they're hoping for. They do have a sale going on right now. They're hoping that'll boost it to 5 million. But they also announced that they're going to have this really gigantic, awesome, detailed-looking figure with the 3 main characters of the game. It looks so large and so big, and yet they didn't announce a lot of details. I didn't see a price for it at the time, and I don't see one at the moment. Maybe it's posted by this time, and if it is, so you'll see it on the screen. I would love to get it, but I'm not going to pay what's going to be for that. That thing's going to be really expensive. So that was all the news they had for Nier Automata. But the whole franchise getting 2 new games very soon, or a remake of a game and a new game on this smartphone, should be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, the other big news last night was Microsoft. Now, Microsoft last night was their chance to finally talk to the Japanese public about the Xbox Series X, to finally talk to them about why this series is, or the system, I should say, the series of systems with Series X and the Series S is the system for you, why you should buy it. And even Phil Spencer came out. He came out first trying to speak Japanese and was not very good. Microsoft really maybe should hire a Japanese coach to help him before he says it. It's nice that he's giving a greeting in Japanese, but I mean, it's like, work on the pronunciation a little bit more. I know you're nervous, but come on. And he talked about how important the Japanese market is for games. He was name-dropping games that were on Microsoft Xbox, but also games that weren't. He name-dropped Persona and Animal Crossing, about how important the Japanese game market is. Games that are not on the Xbox system, ironically. And he talked about that the Xbox systems and the Xbox service is, in Japan, it's what they said was the biggest growth in the world they had in all the world was in Japan. I am very skeptical of that, considering the numbers of systems they've sold compared to the 360, particularly. Now, I think they were talking about, though, like online usages and users and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, and that there's some numbers that probably helped them out. But hey, when you're selling only like 50 or 15 units a week, any growth that's noticeable is going to be substantial. But the point was not, whether it's the fastest growing market or not. The point was they're going to showcase this system and showcase why people should buy it. And last night, unfortunately, I felt they completely dropped the ball 100%, because what they showed last night was a collection of trailers of games that are not exclusive to the system, that were trailers that were shown on the PlayStation 4 unveiling events months ago. No new trailers. I think there was only one new trailer at the end for an indie game that looked kind of interesting. But all the things they showed, all the games they showed, all the things that they put in there, everything was just a rehash of what we've already seen. The Resident Evil Village trailer was an old trailer. The Scarlet Nexus stuff didn't look really new to me, and they didn't really talk much about it other than like show some gameplay. And it was like, okay, it's cool, but it's like we've seen footage of this already. They showcased Tetris Connect, the same trailer we saw before. Tetris Effect Connect. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, that's cool, but, we've seen that from other people. And more games. They showed just the same games that we've seen before. Pragmata, Bright Memory. Nothing really hit. And there was no really good new exclusives from Japan. No really good new announcements. It was all old stuff. They also spent a considerable amount of time talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator. They do have a Japan update, which is cool, but it's still not available for Xbox. When's that going to happen? I would love to know that. Also, obviously they're using old data to make the cities, because they need time to make it, because I could see the old National Stadium, the old Olympic Stadium, not the new Olympic Stadium. Nitpick, but I would like to see them fix that, because, hey, come on. There's a new stadium there. They spent an incredible amount of time on Minecraft, talking about Minecraft and the just like some story mode or something in some level, and some like graphical upgrades. I know Minecraft is very popular in Japan, of course, but I was like, come on, this is not the time for Minecraft. Come talk about something else. They completely failed, in my opinion. They were talking about how important Japan was, and they showcased an event that showcased nothing that people in Japan are going to be excited for to buy the Xbox Series X on itself. everything, just about everything they showed, is also coming to PlayStation 5 or even PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And that's something that should not have happened. This was your chance to showcase the system and you blew it. You spent time talking about the specs of the system. Here's something to tell you that you should know about Japan. They don't really care that much about specs. For them, it's about gameplay. That's why almost a lot of times the least powerful system is always the one that wins. Like the Switch is so powerful and it's so powerful, so popular, it's not even that powerful. It's because it has great games. And what they showed last night just couldn't do it. Now, I will give Microsoft this. Last night, for some reason, they started the pre-orders at midnight. Pre-orders are supposed to start today on the 25th in Japan, and everyone expected them to start in the morning. That's the normal time. They started at midnight last night. Now, we don't know how many systems they had available, but Amazon sold out quickly, Big Camera sold out quickly, and other stores that had it, a few other stores had it, sold out quickly, and the Microsoft store had it as well, and they've sold out as well. We don't know how many systems they have. I don't think they have a lot of systems here because Japan is a smaller market, but it did sell out at midnight, which is a surprise, and I know there's probably people out there that are probably angry about that because they expected morning pre-orders, but they weren't able to get it. But for me, I'm sorry to say this, when I look at what PlayStation has shown, what they've talked about, and what Microsoft has shown, what they've talked about, I think that PlayStation has absolutely, when it comes to the next generation, leads with the Japanese content. There's no doubt about it. Yes, Microsoft has great wins with Western content, and their Game Pass has a great collection of like first-party titles that are very big and all. Sony, of course, has PlayStation Now, which is a great service as well, but it still needs a little bit more quality on their content. It's not terrible. It's great games on there, but of course, there's some big-name games that could be on there that would make it better. But Microsoft just doesn't get it. They still don't get Japan. They've never gotten Japan. And even when they did, even when they had a point where they could have gone in, they made big mistakes, and they continue to make big mistakes. And I just think that it's a really sad thing because I used to be a big fan of the Xbox until about 10 years ago. And I used to be really excited about the Japanese games that came out for it. I'm not excited at all. And even with the news this week, the Bethesda going to Xbox exclusively, I'm not very happy about purchasing an Xbox Series X anytime soon. For me, it's PlayStation 5. It's just they offer what I'm expecting. And I'm expecting some announcements this weekend. Not a lot. I think a lot of the stuff we already know it's going to be shown. But any surprises, I think, are going to be shown for PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch. But anyway, that was the first night of TGS. Of course, the next 3 days, there's going to be a lot of streaming events. There's going to be a lot of shows. There's going to be a lot of games we're going to talk about. A lot of stuff I'm interested in. So we're going to get into that over the next few days. And keep it here. Keep it here. We'll talk about the biggest news from TGS, the best games, the worst games, whatever is interesting. I'll have a video every day throughout this weekend. So until then, I hope that you have a good day today. I hope you have a good weekend coming up. I hope you enjoy everything. Please like and subscribe if you like, or dislike, that's fine. Leave a comment if you want. And keep it up here on this channel for more TGS news. Anyway, Matt is here. Matt is out. I'll see you later. More TGS news coming tomorrow. Keep it here on Reiwa Gaming Matt. Man, that Densha de Go does look pretty cool. Can't wait to play EVR on that one.